Thanks so much for joining us for this week's school board recap. My name is Chris Los. I am joined by Melissa.
Hello.
Thank you for being here, Melissa.
Welcome.
Look, we're trying something new. We've been trying to do this where we're recapping two school district meetings, two school board meetings into one. So we're going to be covering the meeting from October 8th and the 22nd. Some things might overlap. We'll talk about them both together, but we're just trying to give you all of the information that we can in about 30 minutes. So that's the goal. I also want to share that this meeting cannot happen without the community. You see, it's two of us. We'd love for it to be three of us, ideally, which means if you could join us one time a year, that'll give about 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
If you could volunteer for about 4 hours a year. That's it. That's it, right? Like, so how many
and
minutes
some
is
months
that?
only have one meeting. So
Right.
it's like next month in December, there's only one meeting. July, there's no meeting.
No meetings through the summer, take the summer off. So we would appreciate it because we do feel it's important. It provides parents, folks that can't watch these meetings, a quick condensed version so they can kind of get caught up to speed. So as we do that, we'll be kicking it off with the October 8th meeting. Usually we have like a link below. We'll have both of them below. You can scrub around and find out as we're talking about things throughout it. But Melissa, I'll let you take things from here.
And just as Chris said, we're doing the October 8th meeting and the October 22nd meeting.
Yeah.
So some of this information may be a little old, and we'll try to speed up the process on that. So the meeting kicked off with students from Clifton's Spanish dual language program. They did the pledge, and they recognized that it was Spanish Heritage Month this month.
Yeah.
President Hammond and Dr. Landis Find were excused. There were no reports from closed section.
Correct.
Then we moved to order of business, where they had a change. They moved the superintendent's goals to right after Measure MM.
And the order of business can always be found on the school district website.
Correct.
Cool.
And the agenda's there, and they've updated the agenda recently, so it's very easy to access all the information. At 6 minutes, they recognized Major Ken Singleton, who has served our country for 40 years. He was in the Army. He's also the Director of Food Services. He's going to retire from the Army in April, or from the district?
The district, yeah.
Okay. So thank you for 40 years of service to the country and to the district. They also recognized Sandy Castro for as the interim food services director because of her work. She has applied and researched for grants, and because of the work that she did, all of MUSD schools are eligible for free meals, which that was a big thing.
Yeah.
Just to add this caveat, that was State of California passed that during COVID, and we've been able to continue it for 3 years now.
Yes.
And my added point here is that it's just so important because some kids, that's the only meal they get. A lot more kids than we are aware of. That's how they get fed for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we never know who's really close on the cusp but can't make it. So it's good that it's open for everyone, and it leaves any stigma that you and I probably grew up with of kids who got free lunch.
Yeah, no, we're blessed in this district with that for sure.
And then at the 15-minute mark, they moved into board reports, and Board Member Lockerbie addressed the aquatic students for not communicating that the board has heard them over the past year about the pool issues. They are working on it. One thing she mentioned is that being on school board makes it hard to communicate back, and that they understand that communication is a two-way street, so that they very much heard the students and the community who've come out to speak, but they were not communicating back. She also discussed that the board has been working on Measure MM issues for years. The facility needs reports is what drives their decisions. That was created in 2019, and at that time, the price tag was $340 million, which obviously, inflation, it's much larger now, and of the $340 million, they only asked for $75 million. So copies of that are on the website and in the lobby, but
and it's very I've seen
thick.
it. Yeah. It's like old school yellow pages thick of like everything.
Right.
Needed. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of work. A lot of our buildings are old, and but so that was her report. Board Member Travanti, she made this comment, and it really is true, I think, for any elected official, that school board members have become the punching bags lately.
Yeah.
whether it was during COVID, whether it's anything. She encourages the parents and public to advocate for issues, but the school board members have to advocate for all issues, so not just one or the other. All of the board members are open to communication, and their decisions are always based on the best information available. One thing she did point out is that next year 2 board seats will open up.
Correct.
And she is encouraging people to run. You may recall that we had an uncontested election where after the election was over, Board Member Ocon and Board Member Gomez-Tagle had to present themselves of like, we'll do it since no one else wants to.
Because it's district, so somebody from the district has to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
And she just wanted to reiterate that they are doing what is best for all students. They're here to serve students. Then we had the student board member report, Callie Zufield. I'm sorry if I
think so.
Butchered that. She addressed that Monrovia High School did a Breaking Down Walls 2-day event, which sounded really cool, where the students got to learn about each other. And then this month they were celebrating all of the fall sports that happened this month.
Yeah.
29 minutes in, the superintendent report, she discussed Read Across Monrovia with one of our local nonprofits called Monrovia Reads. Did you do it this year?
I didn't get to do it this year. I'm kind of bummed. I want to, They do it twice a year though, right?
They do it twice a year. They do it, Monrovia Reads is in the fall, and then Read Across America is in the spring.
Yes.
They had hundreds of volunteers. I read to a 4th grade class and maybe a 3rd grade class. I read to 2.
It's fun.
Or 2 4th grade
It's so
classes, I
fun.
remember.
Yeah.
It really is fun, and it's good to just see the variety of people who come out. So this is one of the things I was discussing that's going to be old information as of the time that this airs.
Yep.
But this whole month of October, they did their middle school consolidation meetings. They had 6 meetings. 4 were in person and 2 were virtual. They were held on October 21st, 23rd, 24th, 27th, and 28th. The district is in financial stabilization, and that's what the consolidation is about. They've been discussing this for a year now. They're doing this to prevent the school district from getting in distress. We're kind of in a yellow warning light area.
Yeah.
And what they discussed at these meetings were just the viability of both Santa Fe Middle School and Clifton Middle School. So they looked at square footage, operating costs, programs, the surrounding community environment, like everything. If you are a member of the Monrovia Unified School District community in Parent Square, they have sent out the slides, they've sent out recorded meetings, and there's a survey. So please, please, please use your voice to put input there.
It's the only way they find things out.
It's really and truly.
So, yeah, please send your thoughts.
She also mentioned that October is Breast Cancer Survivor Month and just reminded people to get checked, and it's never too early, so take care of yourself.
Yes.
Then at 39 minutes, we moved into public comment, where the only public comment was from Karen DeClue, and she was thanking the school board and the city for working together to restore the pool. One thing she did point out that was interesting was that she's heard the board say that Measure MM was not focused on the pool, but the bond measure that was sent home to voters back in the day lists the pool as item number 4. So that's one of the things people took into consideration when they voted. So the pool was higher on that list that was sent out to our homes than the fences and the security system. And she's just wondering what the discrepancy is. Like, they're saying it wasn't on the list, but it was. And the board says that they've known about the pool for 10 years, but it wasn't part of Measure MM. So what was the plan? And that we have $4 million in unallocated funds. Can we have a realistic solution?
And I do appreciate her also saying, like, you know, if it can't be Measure MM, how do we move, and how can we advocate to get the funds?
Right. I mean, I've spoken about her before, and I just think having the ability to bring 50 plus individual people to a school board meeting to speak on the importance of this issue shows that it's a community-driven issue. So then that was the only public comment.
Yeah.
Moving forward at 43 minutes was staff presentation on Measure MM and our facilities updates. So there's modernization plans for Plymouth and Wild Rose. This is kind of old news too, that couples with both meatings, so I don't really know how we address this. But we were going to sell our bond. We did sell our bond in the last 2 weeks. We have a double A3 rating that shows that we're a safe investment, and that it's going to lower interest rates for taxpayers.
Which is great. And because we have money, it's easier also to then go and ask for
more money. Yeah. And then, and that's what school board member Travanti said, is it's always good to have money because then we get money, because sometimes when we apply for grants, you need to like match 200,000 to get 400,000. So, and then the last thing was that they were going to be voting on the emergency resolution for the pool repair. They've worked with the city, and at the October 8th meeting, the plan was to get to work within the next 2 weeks, but then we find out in the next meeting that just because of permitting and paperwork, we're not quite there yet. Then at the 50-minute mark, which big chunk of the meeting was the superintendent's district goals for 2025, 2026. This is at the 50-minute mark. I'll just try to do the highlights here because
it was a lot. Yeah, and go in and see it. Like, it's a lot.
There's charts and graphs, and it's very important. So their first goal was to achieve increased math achievement by 2% across all student groups, and we are at
42.
We were at 4. So we were trying to get to pre-pandemic levels, which was 43, and in the last year we got up to 42, and so we're almost at our goal of where we were pre-COVID. So we're still pushing, but we're within the area of what we wanted. And I will say that Celine pointed out that staff should be congratulated, the district should be congratulated, but a lot of people are going to be looking at that like 42%.
I'll be honest, that's how I kind of felt. I was like,
right.
And I don't know the national scale, so I'm not going to I don't want to be that guy, but it was like, oh.
I think that you can go back and watch, but I think they do mention like we're in the range of what California is. Yeah. But even on that, you're like, but what?
Yikes.
And then goal 2 was to reduce chronic absenteeism to 10% and continue to work to exceed district daily average attendance. Last year we got 13%, so this year we're at 10%.
Yeah, which is better.
Yeah. And just a note of that is that every day a kid is not in school, the district actually loses $1. I think I'm rounding up. I think it's a little bit less.
Yeah, they lose something.
But they lose money, and the only way the district gets money is when your kids are in school. So I know there's a lot of mixed messages of keep your kids home when they're sick, but also make sure they go to school because everybody benefits.
Yeah, that's a wild one to me.
I know. I know. Goal number 3 was building the district-wide, multi-tiered, multi-domain systems of support that span academic, college, and career and social emotional domains. This is very interesting. It's like a triangle. Go look at it, but tier 1 is very big and broad. Everyone gets it, and then each above tier is separated into like who needs it the most, and it's proactive, but it's available to everyone. So all parents in the district should know about this.
Yeah.
And then goal 4 was raise achievement levels for all students in core subjects, core areas by 2% and close our performance gap. This was very data heavy, and I would say what they've been able to do is see where they're having difficulties, and before they just had scores. So now what they've created and met with this goal is that they can really identify like which questions are our kids having trouble with, which categories, and maybe we need to reorganize how we're teaching something so that the information is retained better. And those were the 4 goals. And so the board had to approve the goals with they motioned to approve goals with the understanding that they will also provide visuals to all the school sites and to the public. So that was the big chunk.
That was a lot. It was a lot.
So then at hour and 18-minute, the consent agenda was approved with no discussion. Then they went to action items, and there was an agreement. So one was with educational services for an agreement with emergence healthcare for nursing, speech pathologists, and other health providers. This is a, what is the word I'm looking for? It's like a staffing agency. They have these positions open and they're trying to hire them. But right now, we just need people to fill these positions,
Yes.
and this is the best way we can fill them in a short amount of time. So the
I need people, basically.
no, so the jobs are out there. They're being put out there. People should know who are looking for them, and they are promoting it. But this is an agreement to get people into those positions right now. They also discussed an agreement with UWorld Learning, which is to strengthen AP testing.
Right.
It's funded through a grant, and it will offer students resources to strengthen preparedness for AP testing. And one of the things, I don't know if you knew this, but I found out, is that the district covers all AP testing.
Oh, yeah.
So any student of any income, all of your AP tests are paid for through the school district, which is really great.
Which is cool because it's not everywhere, right? If
Right,
I'm
no,
mistaken.
not at all.
Correct.
I took 2 AP tests in
Yeah.
high school many years ago and had to pay for them out of pocket.
No, and a lot of other districts are the same.
Yeah, and so this is really going to help the AP teachers understand how to prepare for the test better. And one of the questions Celine brought up was that can these resources be used for non-AP teachers to help expand Pathway? That's something, once they get the data on that, they will look into doing that. But it has been presented to the staff and teachers, and they seem very receptive to it. So again, more data is good because we
Yeah.
can really see where we need to pick up the pace. Then there was an agreement with USARE Inc., which is a
Yeah, what was that? Like that?
it's for behavioral health services with students. It's got non-HIPAA violations. It's, healthcare approved, and it's basically, it allows people to log their services in real time,
Yeah.
but I didn't really understand, like, if you're meeting with the counselor, she's usually at her computer.
I didn't.
So I don't know, but it provides support and technical training. If you are also questioning, that was about the 1:33-minute mark. It was approved. Then at hour and 36, they went into business services. So they approved AB 1200, which is public disclosure about revised salary schedules.
Yep.
They made a declaration that October 14th through 17th was National School Lunch Week, and they passed the Resolution 252615, which was declaring an emergency and authorizing emergency repairs to MHS swimming pool. They then approved architectural services at Plymouth Elementary with PBK Architects to assess, design, and administer the district's plan with Measure MM money, and they did the same thing with Wild Rose Elementary, but that was with a different firm.
Yes. And this has been ongoing
Yeah.
for some time now. So if you've been watching or you have not, like, just be aware that didn't just happen in this meeting.
Right. And then board member Travante also asked that, but both of those schools, communication is sent to the parents and just community, again, so that they're aware that construction's going to be happening.
Yep.
There might be some displacement of where you park that week.
You'll see things a little disheveled as they're doing it.
Yeah. Then they went through human resources, which was very long, and I will try to condense this, but lots of new things happening. They created a position for buyer and event coordinator. They changed the role of library technician 1 and technician 2 and reclassified these roles. There is a new position for an assistant PE coach. They changed that. This was really cool, which is they changed the hours for campus assistants, increasing the work from 4 to 6,
yeah.
which will increase the number of people who apply for these positions, and also it eliminates any inconsistencies between campuses. Approved retroactive salary adjustment to classified management and confidential employees from July 2022. There was an amendment to the MOU with the SCEA. that all employees are now in a single unified salary schedule, and they fixed errors dating back to July 22. And all employees will now move to this new salary schedule. And then there was a public hearing for negotiations between Monrovia Chapter 20, CSEA, and Monrovia Unified School District for the Sunshine Negotiant Proposal for the current SCEA District Bargaining Agreement. So they had the initial proposal with public comment. There was none. Then they had the proposal, which passed, and then they adopted the district's proposal, all very quickly, which passed.
You recapped that well. That was a lot that actually happened during the meeting. So
I was like, what is the most important information that people will want to listen to? And then they adopted, item J was they adopted the district's proposals for the 2025 school year, and then they recognized October as Filipino American History Month. And I don't know if you saw, but they, on Instagram just this week, they posted a photo of it, and it had some good pictures of Ponce and Lucia.
Oh, dang it.
Which
Now I'm hungry.
is I know.
Yeah.
And then the meeting adjourned by honoring Coach Michael Knowles at, I don't know, I have 2 hours and 4 minutes, and I don't think that's right.
Go to the end of the meeting, and you'll see it.
So that was October 8th.
Yes.
And then we'll move to October 22nd. The meeting convened at 6:42 p.m. Wild Rose did the pledge, and they also had a little performance because they're going to be performing Frozen at the high school November 14th and 15th. And I don't know if you've gone to a Wild Rose play, but they are very adorable and cute. And
Kid plays are the best.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So pure.
I love everything about them.
Let it go.
And that they went into board reports. Board member Gomez Tagli recognized that it's the 70th anniversary for Monrovia Youth Baseball League,
It's dope.
which is
Love it.
love to see things that are older than me still in
Right? That exists.
Registration is now open for spring baseball, and he wanted to entertain a motion for or entertain a MOU between MUSD and Monrovia Youth Baseball League, so just children have a safe place for sports. Then board member Hammond, I'll be honest, I was waiting for when this announcement was coming because I knew that it had been, we've been aware of this for some time because we did it at the city council recap.
Yep.
But AB 1390 is a law signed by Gavin Newsom that they had to increase those that sit on our elected boards, whether it's school board or city council, their payment. And you have to. These people work. We've been in meetings where they go to their day job and then they're at this meeting from 6:30 till 1 a.m. They're also at every single school event. They're at
Yes.
every city
Back to
event.
school night, open house.
Plays, read across Monrovia.
Yeah.
They're gonna go hang out in the lunchroom. Like, they just put so much time
And that's outside of them getting smashed by y'all on Facebook and tagged in all kind of nonsense. So like,
accurate.
salute to y'all for stepping into these spaces.
Right. Anybody who runs, like, it is not a well compensated, as much as people think, like, it is not well compensated. Mr. Hammond stated that most board members receive only $300 a month.
Right.
And this law increases that from $300 to $1,200. And, I can't even argue this. This is so important. It just opens the gap for anybody who in the past would be prohibited from doing this because this is a full-time job.
and I like, similar to the city council, it's like I'm for paying them the maximum because like how as a community can we ask for so much of them and pay them so little?
It's demeaning and demoralizing. So, and one thing he mentioned that really shook me was that they have to buy tickets to attend the events that they go to. And they are at every event. And so a lot of times that dips into their personal finances, and he said they're supplementing the district sometimes. And so he said no one should be barred from participating because they don't have the financial means. And so that's going to be on the agenda in November. But just from this seat, I applaud this move. I think it's a great move.
Agreed.
I think people sitting on the board will appreciate it.
Yeah, and deserve it.
Deserve it, for sure. Then there was a student board member report from Madeline Abule, and they're at Mountainside. There was a job fair this month.
Yep.
They've had a 7% increase in their attendance, which is great. Homecoming took place for both high schools last weekend, and FAFSA
yeah.
application. It's been a long time since I had to apply for college. The applications are open, and there will be a workshop in November for any district senior. Then we moved on to superintendent report, which was welcoming Tanya Cabeza, who is going to be the Director of Educational Services, Executive Director of Educational Services for College, Career, and Student Support. Last week was Anti-Hate Week, October 20th through 24th, so a lot of anti-bullying information at campuses, kindness-themed lessons, and then October 23rd through the 31st was Red Ribbon Week, which is promoting a drug-free life. This year's theme is Life is a Puzzle, Solve It Drug-Free.
Yeah.
Again, there was a reminder of all the middle school information, which at the time this goes out has already happened. So just another plug to go check your Parent Square and fill out that survey. At the 28-minute mark was public comments. And Stephanie Sparks spoke. She's a teacher from Santa Fe. She's been a teacher for 23 years. She said, and was speaking on behalf of a lot of people, that many people felt the data presented was skewed, incomplete, and wrong. The information presented for Santa Fe was wrong. The data on the gym and cafeteria, and there was no consideration given to the conditions. Like one thing she mentioned was Santa Fe has 3 labs and 3 stock rooms, and Clifton only has 2. There was misleading information on coughs. Office space data was wrong. At Santa Fe, one out of 3 kids walk themselves to school and get there on their own. I don't know what the data is for Clifton, so I don't want to skew it, but she also said that Clifton is located in the Northern District and Santa Fe is in the heart. She felt that the first survey question was misleading about which schools should stay open when the data was wrong. The data has since been corrected, so if you go into Parent Square, it's all been updated, but she wanted to say that Santa Fe deserves to have its full story told. The next comment was Abigail Weltman, and she was excited to see the plans for the pool for the girls' water polo season, which started October 20th. It was previously mentioned that the pool would be fixed by then, but she also noticed that the cost had gone up, and she just wants to know what the long-term plan is, that as stakeholders, the public would like to have a say and be valued in the plan, and hopefully all of the tax money that we spent on previous plans has not been wasted, and we can do something. Then, really exciting update at the 36-minute mark was the Citizen Bond Oversight Committee, which is the citizens that oversee Measure MM. So these are not board members, these are people appointed to make sure that the money is being spent appropriately. And in the 23-24 fiscal year, $7.6 million was spent on roofing on all sites, security cameras, and vape sensors, and fencing on all the elementary schools.
Yes.
Janet Wall is who presented this information. She's the chair member of this board.
And also our city treasurer.
Also, yes, she holds many. She's a multifaceted woman. The bond can only be used for facilities, and it's to ensure annual independent financial and performance audits. Or that's what the group does, is they make sure that the bond's only used for facilities and that the bond expenditures are used for projects approved by voters.
Right.
They had 2 audits conducted in 2022-23 and 2023-24. Both came back clean, which is good news. She just wanted to update the board with some recommendations to provide more thorough, detailed, and timely information, continue working with the current bond management team, and continue utilizing the bond tracking software, and schedule meetings much further in advance so there's a full attendance. Anything else?
No.
I just need to take a breath.
Yeah, no, take your time.
45-minute mark, Measure MM Facilities Update by Dr. Giroux. The roof at Brad Oaks is getting updated.
They needed it.
Has it?
Yeah, there was leaks and water coming through when it rained, and yeah, it's good.
Kids.
Yeah. Trash cans set up.
As mentioned earlier, we sold our Series B bond and refinanced the 2006 bond. Both were successful. And the refinance bond will save taxpayers over $800,000. And that's actually going to be an immediate savings. We'll see it on your next personal tax assessment. So it's not something we're going to see in 5 years. You'll see it next year, which is great.
Yeah.
Then he presented an update on the communication PA system, door access systems. This is just something they were entertaining, give us a direction of where to go in. They had a gentleman speak about a clock and a speaker. The one point of, I wouldn't even call it contention, but just more further questions was that that's something that's only audible from outside.
Right.
There's nothing visual. So in the classroom, the clock can change colors. So if it's like blue because there's a bear on campus, like everyone can see, but there's nothing outside that could tell people what's going on.
And I had no idea how much all of this stuff costs. Like, it is expensive. Well, because you got to think all the schools. And,
Right. One of the things they said was that the high school already has a wireless system, so they may like just keep that and come to it when they need to if they have funds. But Mr. Hammond said, if we have the funding, we want to keep everything the same. And board member Lockerbie said, and I agree with this because they spoke about it at a previous meeting, is that they really need guidance from site leaders so that they can hear what they need. We can't just say, okay, here's a good clock for this school and it's going to work everywhere, because each school is different. And some things they found out were that like, we can't hear in this hallway, or the sun is blinding, just all of different things that people who are on the site every day.
Nuance to each, campus.
So that is something they're still looking for the right company to approve and work with. As far as MHS pool repair, they are working with contractor Blue Star Pools. Hopefully it'll be done mid-December. The increase in the cost is due to like tile and plaster and just kind of when you go in, there's something else. It's being funded from Fund 40, and they anticipate it will take 60 days. It may start earlier, but for our water polo team, they are in talks with Duarte and Citrus to make sure all the bases are covered. Hour and 17 minutes in, so just so you know, that was a lot of information because that started at 45 minutes.
Yeah, go in and see the whole long box to get all the details. Like,
The consent calendar passed, and then 1 hour, 18 minutes, they were asked to approve guidance initiative for community college CCGI, which is something that manages California colleges, and it's a service provider. It's actually really cool once I get through all of this information, but essentially it's a program that will take every school district's, like your student information, and when you're applying for college, streamline it so that all of the information is right there on the application, because they are tedious and long, and there's always like what is this P, what is this H, what does this mean? And we currently work with Aries. A lot of school districts work with Aries, and this project will work in conjunction with Student Data, CCGI, and the state of California. They can't start it until January, and the goal of this whole agreement is to level the playing field and ensure access for all students to apply for colleges. Lots of school districts are being forced into this position, and it will just make it easier in the long run. And the motion passed with the infusion that we get our data prepared before the actual due date. And if we can't make that, we need to know why. And then 1 hour and 31 minutes in, it was the appointment of community members to the Measure MM Oversight Committee for their second term. This extends their membership through 2027. There's 2 spots. One person actually removed their name from seeking reappointment. So the one person was reappointed, and then at the next meeting, they will appoint the new person. 1 hour, 33 minutes, they reappointed Jeannie Tyler as the California School Employee Nominee for the Personnel Commission. She has held this role since 2001 and is still interested and willing to serve, so thank you.
Thank you, yes.
There was a memorandum of understanding to ratify a grievance for a settlement between a classified employee. They recognized Red Ribbon Week, which we already discussed. I'll be honest, if you're going to watch this was a very enjoyable moment to just show that our board members are real people and they have personalities, because saying Red Ribbon Week is a bit of a tongue twister, and they all tried, and
Yeah.
it was delightful. That brings us to the end. So the next meeting is November 19th.
Yes.
One meeting in December, which will be December 17th. That's the annual reorganization meeting. There will be no school on November 10th or November 11th. Week of Thanksgiving, it's closed. And then Dr. Hart Rodas is working with the city on a traffic pattern in front of the high school, and they just asked at the next board meetings for any update about that. Oh, and big thing is that our Senator Sasha Perez, will be at the November 19th meeting. She is the chair of the Education Committee for the state of California. So that'll be a really important meeting just to see what actually is coming down from Sacramento and how we all will be affected. And the meeting was adjourned at 8:24.
You did it. And isn't also November 19th meeting
My birthday?
Hey! It is also Melissa's birthday on November 19th. But the school with Santa Fe, find out.
They will be voting on that at that
Yes,
meeting.
at
Yes.
that meeting.
Yes.
Okay, so big meeting, November 19th, next one. Yeah.
I'm saying that, but I'm actually not sure if they're voting or they're going to be presenting with the data. And because of the way the school board and how it's not like, here's the information, if it's going to be, here, we're presenting you, and then in the December meeting, they'll vote on it. But it will be discussed.
Yeah.
So tune in for that as well.
Yeah. And thank you. Look, I want to also thank Michael and Chris, who are back here, KGM crew. They work so hard. And we're here. We record these at 5 o'clock, so that way you can join us. So we'd love to have you join us here as we go through it. There's stuff that we got wrong, and there's things that we might have mispronounced or said. So check the links for all the information below. We just want you to get the information. It's most important.
This is your stuff too.
Yeah.
And we should all be a little bit more, as Chris said earlier, well-informed and not yelling into the void.
Yeah.
Because we can actually reach out and do a lot of things.
And we're a small city with a lot of cool stuff, and it
Right.
can be better. So get involved. KGMTV@gmail.com if you want to come join us for the next one, and we will see you next time. Thanks.
Thanks.